Hello everyone. Hello. Welcome. Welcome Tanish. Hello Bhakti. Hello Tavashya's mother, Keyusha. Oh, nice. Hello. Hello. Nice. Hello Balvi. Welcome. Dharmil, happy to see you. Finally. Hello. Hello Jia's father. Nice. Hello Pratham. Good. So we'll just wait for 1 minute for people to join in. Yes. Very good evening. I think Dhwani, Parimal, Hemang, Ishanvi, nice, Jia, Atharva. Hello Tavashya. Thakur sir, welcome. Okay, good evening. Reps and daisies is, I'm not sure. Okay, Bhasha, Atharva, yeah. Okay, hello. People are waving, I'll wave back like this, not by touching the phone. Hello, me. So, great. I think I'll get started so that you're not going to waste too much time. See, the idea here is especially for players as well as parents. I think the base is कि आप लोगों के पास जितना ज़्यादा knowledge होगा ना गेम के बारे में उतना आप उसको अपने betterment के लिए use कर सकते हैं. The more knowledgeable that you are about the sport, the better decisions you will make as players, as parents, the more that you understand the sport. So doing a series like this is to help you understand the various aspects, and this time about fitness, because fitness, we don't really talk about fitness. I mean, we talk in tennis, we talk tactics, we talk mental aspect, but we don't really talk fitness. So I think it is very important that all of you understand that what is it that it takes, okay, to become better and better at the various aspects of tennis fitness. I mean, we use different words, there's conditioning, there's fitness, but let's get down to the root. So let me just set the base right now. At the highest level, tennis is very, very physical. It is brutal at the physical level. Okay, you have to see, people who have seen tennis at the highest level will know how intense it is, how tough it is. Various aspects have to come together, and for a longer period of time. You have to be able to be at your best, physical best, for a longer period. And I think a lot of people, ask this question that where is it that, Indian tennis players are not at par with the others? Where is it that we lose out? And to me, if you ask, I think the honest answer is the physical aspect. I don't think we understand this physical aspect well. Okay, I think players are mentioning that my voice is coming first and then the video. Atharva mentions that. Is it true for the others as well? That are my voice and the video not in sync? Are they? If you could just comment, it will be great. Okay, so they are not in sync, right? Yes means they are not in sync. So yes means what? They are not in sync, correct? A lot of you mentioned yes, but I should log out and log in again. Not in sync. Okay, so maybe I should log out and log in again. Is that okay? Yeah, just hold on please. I'll just log out and log in again, or maybe just try to change my internet connection. Just give me 1 minute. Not in sync. Okay, how is it now, everyone? Hello Khushbu, hello Viraj, hello Karthik. I presume that is Aman and Tanisha. How is it now? Is it better, everyone? Thank you for that feedback. But how is it now? Better. Okay, great. So, so just to at the highest level, what where we miss out is on the physical aspect. Okay, and let us understand this better. Uh, I want everyone, so we visualize, so we see top level tennis, we watch the points, and so we know that the kind of skills that it takes on the court. But I want every one of you, especially the players, to visualize what is the kind of physique that you should have, okay, when you are playing right at the top. Suppose you're at 20 years of age, okay, and you're playing the ATP WTA. What is it in your physique that you should have? Just imagine that. Think about those qualities that you should have at the physical level. What kind of a build will you have? What kind of a structure? What kind of a height? Just that. If you could just visualize that right now, it'll give you a clear idea of what you should achieve. I'm not even getting into the various components, but just to get an idea, okay? We will dwell into that more, but yes, you can get into, a lot of you wrote down the components today of fitness, right? Of tennis fitness. So just think about it. How much endurance will you need? What kind of speed will you need? What kind of agility, right? What kind of coordination? ये सब में कैसा चाहिए होगा? सोचो, हाईएस्ट लेवल पे कैसा चाहिए होगा जब तुम मैच्योर हो जाओगे, when you will be at your peak. And then start planning that how you can actually get there. Because unfortunately, and we might discuss that a lot of players till the age of 18, they are a particular kind of an athlete, but then when they have to jump into men's and women's, I don't think at the physical level they are really there. They have to take time off and actually then build that. Okay, so with this thought of visualizing the kind of physique or the physical qualities that you need, okay, let me invite to you, okay, someone who will actually the expert for the evening today, okay, who will help us dwell more and give us more information about about the fitness aspects. I'd like to welcome Priyanka. Just waiting for her to join in. Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, very well.
Okay.
All of you?
How about everyone else? Can you guys hear me?
I think they should be able to hear you well.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone, thank you for that feedback in the beginning for sure. Yeah. Okay, great. So I'll introduce Priyanka very briefly. She's been an international level athlete. She's been a speed skater who's represented India, won medals at the Asian level. She has done her education in kinesiology and exercise science, okay, from the US. She's a certified strength and conditioning specialist. And one of her best experiences and why she's so good with the tennis players is because she got a chance, a lifelong, she'll talk about it later, a chance to train the athletes at Stanford. And all of you who are aware of the US college tennis scenario, Stanford happens to be the best or one of the best teams that is there. Okay, so she's got that wealth of experience, and I've had a chance of working closely with Priyanka. She's an entrepreneur, and of course, Shaishya and Hi-Fi Sports Performance. So Hi-Fi Sports Performance is the fitness partner to us at the academy. So welcome, Priyanka. I think
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
yeah, very few of them would have known this part of you, your achievements,
Yeah.
and what you've studied. So that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, Priyanka. So shall we get started?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So this session, everyone, is going to be in three parts. Okay. We are going to have the first part in which we are going to discuss the various aspects, the various components of fitness, Okay, this is where Priyanka will help. Then there are certain things that I feel, I have certain hypotheses or my beliefs. Okay, and that I'll be sharing with Priyanka, with all of you, and she will give her expert opinion, her views on whether that is correct or not, and what needs to be done. So while we are going through the components, she will also be going through the do's and don'ts. Okay, of those components and where is it that we can get better. And towards the end, we will be very happy to take questions. Okay, so this is how the session is structured. So let's go forward. If there is any problem with the connection, anyone, then please let us know. And welcome to everyone. So, Priyanka, I think let's start off with the first component, and which I think, yeah. So strength, power, and height. Out of which, let's start off with strength. Okay,
Yes.
your views on strength and what is it, if you were to just explain to the players as well as parents.
I'm glad we're starting with that because that is personally my favorite component to work with. I feel no matter who you are, whether you're an athlete or you're a child or you're a senior citizen, I feel everybody can benefit from strength, no matter who you are or what you do. Athletes, especially Indian athletes, because I feel like we're generally a little more on the slimmer side. I feel like if you see genetics, people, if you see Americans, Europeans, generally their build is like that. So we have to work a little harder in that aspect. And strength, sort of, a lot of other components of fitness depend on strength. So I'll just start. I'll give a brief introduction. I'll give a brief definition of what strength is. It's basically how much force your body can produce. It could be against resistance. It could be your own body weight, but it is the force that the body can produce. What happens is when we start, we work. Even if we're doing bodyweight exercises like squats and push-ups and pull-ups, that is also strength training, which sometimes we forget. When we think of strength training, we think of dumbbells, we think of barbells, we think of lifting heavy things, but we don't think of body weight as, producing resistance or like producing muscles that produce resistance against gravity. That is also strength training. What happens is over time, when you start with bodyweight exercises, the body adapts. Body adapts very quickly to what you throw at it. So beyond a point, after a point, when the body adapts to your own body weight, you have to go ahead and give it something more challenging. So that's when we introduce weights. We would introduce even bands. Resistance bands are also a type of resistance training, which most people don't think of it like that. That's not the first thing that will come to your mind. So that is strength training, overview of strength training. And now when you look at it from the tennis player's point of view, again, when we work with that, we would start with same kind of progression. We would start with bodyweight exercises, we would introduce bands, we would introduce light weights, and then take it forward from that. And in all these things, the main thing we look at is technique. Because if the technique is improper, no matter how heavy or light weights you use, you can get injured. So that's how I see strength training. And when you see tennis, I feel like tennis is a brutal sport. So you need to be able to hit hard. You need to be able to hit quickly. You need to be able to last a long, so certain games are long, certain games are short, certain matches, I mean. So you need a whole variety of different components, out of which this is, one of the main ones. And oftentimes, strength is confused with power. So when I have a lot of players or even parents come up to me, they'll be like, nahi, power pe kaam karna hai. Or, we want to start by working on power. But until we have the first part of the equation in, we cannot work on the second. Power, to define it quickly, is the ability to produce force quickly. So that is strength over time. Now, if somebody does not have that requisite strength in their body, they're not going to be able to produce it quickly. So when people come up to me and talk about, being quick on court and being able to generate having faster racket speed, they're actually talking about power. But so they both go hand in hand, very, very similar. You can maybe I'm giving you the technical side of things. You can maybe put it in tennis language now to make the viewers understand better.
No, I think they've all understood, and I think very good that we actually started with strength. And a very valid point there is that a lot of components actually depend on strength. And very honestly, if you were to ask me, if I see players growing up, if they are missing out on one aspect of training, it is strength training. Correct? Because it is tougher to train. And power,
It
which
is.
is the second component, which Priyanka has already mentioned, is clearly dependent on strength. Okay. Now, Priyanka, there are two things that I want you to talk about. One,
Okay.
a lot of parents actually have this conception that, strength training छोटी age से नहीं करना चाहिए और weight. So you've already answered that weights हमको we'll have to take weights once the body adapts. And I think when I
Right.
even asked you on the quote is if they can maintain the form, if they can maintain the right technique while they are doing this, they are okay to then add weights.
Yes, yes.
Correct?
So I think that misconception came when, for example, if I have a 7-year-old or 8-year-old lift barbells and do Olympic lifting, I think we've had a lot of, not a lot, I guess. That's how the misconception came from, that when you have younger kids do Olympic lifting or do heavy lifting with bad technique, that is wrong. I mean, that no matter who you are, you will get injured. So when we work with younger kids, we work with kids from the age of 6 onwards, and we have them work with bands. So that is also resistance training. We have them work with lighter weights, and there is absolutely no research that says that kids cannot lift weights. I think we are scared that they will stop growing, that their height will stop increasing. That is because in the bones, they have a misconception that the bones will stop growing because of their epiphyseal plate and stuff like that. I won't get into the details too much. But long story short, there is absolutely no research. In fact, research says the other way around, that when kids are practicing, basically training for one particular sport, to prevent them from overuse injuries, you would do strength training. To prevent them from, because you want to get the muscles stronger. Now, tennis is a unilateral sport, which means you either play it with a right hand or a left hand. So one arm is going to be stronger than the other. And to prevent that from increasing further, to prevent your right from getting further like stronger and your left from getting weaker, you would do strength training to sort of prevent any injuries that might happen going further in the future. So if you ask me, I would encourage children or teenagers even to build that strength.
So good. So we've actually then busted one myth, and this actually takes me back 20 years back. I was in Europe,
Okay.
for the as a part of the as playing the European circuit as a part of the Asian team, and till that time, of course, here we would not know, and I would go there, and the girls would be more. They'll be taller than us. They'll be stronger, and they would be
Absolutely.
actually lifting weights. They would actually
Yes,
be lifting
yes.
weights, and here in India at that point in time, no concept like that. I would have never seen a dumbbell or
Yeah.
gone to the gym and so on. So, I mean, that
In
was
fact,
20 years
it was
ago.
scary to enter. Sorry to interrupt. It was scary to enter the gym at that time because I was also skating around, 20, God knows how many years ago. But being a girl, you only see men in the weight room, and they are surprised when you enter the weight room and you're lifting any sort of weights. So I agree. That's also another myth for another time, that lifting weights will make you bulky, which is also not the case. But
So good.
yeah.
So now, what is the problem, the biggest problem that you face working with tennis athletes on strength? And what is it that is required to build good strength?
Okay. So of all the sporting athletes I've worked with, I feel like tennis players are the hardest to work with because of their tours, because they have so many matches that they play throughout the year. And this is at all levels. You see juniors, you see professional, if you see the Grand Slams, the professional players are also playing throughout the year. So then there is no off season. And there is no concept of off season for a sport like tennis, which is very challenging to work with in terms of developing strength, because what do you require? What happens in the body when you are putting it through an intense bout of strength training? You have microscopic tears in the muscles because that's making room for new muscle to grow. So that's normal. But what will happen is when I do strength training today, I have done an intense day, intense session. And then tomorrow, if I go out and play tennis, I'm on the court for 4 hours in the day, not getting enough sleep, not getting enough rest. That is a recipe for disaster. So with a sport like tennis, where players are constantly traveling, I feel like there has to be communication with the coach and the fitness trainer for the parent, that how many tournaments can we play? How many tournaments should we play that will make sure that the player is the strength training is ongoing. It's not stop. It's not cut off when they're in tournaments. So that communication is key, because I feel like if both people are on board, the coach and the trainer, then they can be, it can be figured out of how you can plan strength in the whole year. So yes, off season was one, and rest and recovery, I mentioned that briefly, but like I said, we'll go back to that example. If I've done an intense bout today, then sleep is key. I have to get enough rest, and nutrition is even more important. So yeah, I feel like that is what all these different components make it very hard for tennis player to build strength. Because you have to give time. If the time is not given, then instead of building strength, you will go the other direction and get injured. So that has to be taken care of.
Perfect. So actually, I'm jumping in a little bit here because this is something that I'll mention later, but just for all the parents and players to know. Now, what really happens with strength training is, like Priyanka mentioned, that it is important to get some good rest, okay, whenever you do a strength workout. But अगर आप ज्यादा सोचते हैं कि नहीं बच्चे का ट्रेनिंग कोर्ट पे ट्रेनिंग तो बहुत ज्यादा होना ही चाहिए, ठीक है, एंड इफ यू वांट देम टू कीप प्लेइंग टूर्नामेंट्स, वी हैव हैड a lot of instances of producing good junior players, but then they will not be able to make it at the senior level because they will lack strength. A lot of players, great juniors, but to take transition, जब तक वो men's आता है, I know personally that there are some players जिनको बोला you take some time off, build strength, and then you restart the circuit in order to, one, of course, be able to compete at that level with that force, with that power, with strength being one of the main components. Okay, two, also injuries. If you actually notice, whenever, and I'm not saying that this is the only reason, but this happens to be one of the main reasons, you will see that all Indian athletes, when they are at their peak, you will see that they have actually suffered an injury. And that has brought them down. We had Vishnu Vardhan also 2 weeks back, and he also mentioned about an injury. We've had so many cases, right? So please ensure that strength remains the base, and for this you need time. And this is where tournament planning comes in, playing less comes in, and we will also talk about one other tip towards the end of the session, that how is it that during tournaments also you can maintain fitness, because what happens is tournaments means no fitness, you're only playing matches. No, that should not be the concept. If your main aim is to perform at the highest level, if your aim is to perform at 12, 14, 16, okay, play tournaments, feel good about it, perform, and you can have a cabinet of trophies, but that will not help you reach your highest goal, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so strength and power done. Okay, we move on to endurance. So please, a lot of players who noted, please, strength is different from power. These are two separate components. Okay, and strength also has, like, just to give an example, explosive. When Priyanka mentioned that, a lot of things depend on strength. There's something called explosive strength, which is, let us say, your first step on the court. So aapka movement. Yes. So that movement is not how fast you move. It is actually how strong you are with that first step. Correct? And this is where strength can help you with speed, with looking that you're actually better off on court. Okay, great. So now, Priyanka, talk about endurance a little bit. Stamina.
Okay.
Kuch parents ke language mein simple stamina.
Correct. Endurance, also known as stamina. Two types of endurance. So let's take an example of a marathon runner. Marathon running is very long distance, where you are basically it's not extremely intense, but the duration is so long that it's very tiring. So that is known as aerobic endurance, or I don't have another word for that. The other one is anaerobic endurance, which is what tennis is, like a sport like tennis would be all about. Anaerobic endurance. I'll briefly explain what that means. What happens in a point, or what happens in a game? Let's say I would serve. The point would, you would go back and forth. I'm not sure how long a typical point lasts, but that depends on your
lot of factors,
level,
but let's get
lot of
back.
factors. But
Yes.
basically, you would go back and forth, and then you get 20 seconds rest until you serve again. So it's you are, let's say, it's intense bout for about 7 to 10 seconds, for example, and then you have 20 seconds of rest between points, where you're taking the ball. It's active rest. You're moving around the court. You're getting the ball. You're getting ready to serve again. Now, this is anaerobic endurance. So it is said that whatever you are trying to, specificity is basically what you need to work on. If you want to get better at a sport like tennis, then anaerobic endurance is what you would be working on, or interval training. So I think back when you and I used to play our respective sports, we didn't have so much knowledge about these things, that there are energy systems in the body and what you're working on specifically. So if we work on aerobic endurance, let's say a tennis player is extremely good at long distance runs, then I'm not sure it would help him so much. Like, let's say you do a 10-kilometer run where you're just running for 10 kilometers straight, versus if you do a 5-kilometer run, but it's an interval training where you are sprinting for, let's say, 10 seconds and you are resting for 50, or there's a lot of different combinations you can do like that. But I feel like anaerobic endurance is more specific to the sport of tennis. So that is what we would work on. However, I would not write out aerobic endurance completely. We would use that for recovery. We use that a lot at High Five for recovery. And how does that come in? For example, you've had a very intense day yesterday. You were playing a tournament and you're a finalist and you had a very long match and you're completely spent today. So you would come in tomorrow and we wouldn't make you do anything else, but we would put you on the bike and have you do a very slow recovery, bike ride at your own pace. What that will do is all the waste that is developed in your body over the last 24 hours, it'll help get everything in motion. It'll help mobilize all that and get it back into the system so that, you will feel fresh again. It is an extremely good, aerobic endurance is an extremely good tool for recovery. So both have its place, but for training purposes, for tennis, I would prefer doing it the anaerobic way.
Good. So just to also explain it to the parents specifically, and because I suffer from it, लंबे समय तक दौड़ते रहना. If I just go there and run for 1 hour, ठीक है, मेरा स्टेमिना अच्छा होगा. But it is not necessary that is the ideal stamina that I will need when I am on the court. On the court, I want to be sprinting, resting, again sprinting, resting, and maybe doing it 50 times, 100 times. ठीक है, वो जरूरी है. Actually, अगर मैंने सिर्फ लंबे समय तक, some parents actually get into this that okay, मेरे सन को दौड़ाओ, ज्यादा लंबा दौड़ाओ, 1 hour, 1.5 hours.
Correct.
I actually read कि that will slow you down on the court. It is not going to help you. और इसी को please इसके साथ relate करो. A lot of them come to us and say that my kid should be playing 3 hours, 4 hours on the court, right? 80% of the matches will finish within 1.5 hours. 80% of tennis matches will finish within 1.5 hours. उसके दौरान आप कितना intense खेल सकते हो वो important है. It is not how long you play. I know players who can play for 6 hours. But I can tell you that they are good for state level, national level. They're not good for international level. At the international level, you don't need 6 hours of that kind of an energy. You will need 2 hours of even higher energy. It's explosive, very, very intense.
Yes.
So वो एक चीज mind में बांध ले, because that is very important. And that is the kind of athlete that we want to be raising. So on the court, this is our lookout. Off the court, this is how Priyanka would plan the sessions. Okay, so this is one. And two, she raised a very important point, and this is where the world is actually moving. More players are actually using bikes for endurance. They're using the stationary bikes. So please ensure. In fact, the lockdown ke dauran, it would have been great. In fact, yeah, Priyanka, tell me about this research about bikes.
Yes. So I think this takes me back to when I was at Stanford. Stanford is they have a lot of sports teams, and they have a fantastic gym. They get funded by, and they literally any equipment on earth they will be able to get, because they have a lot of funding for sports and athletics. So when we entered the gym, we were, expecting this big gym with a lot of machines and everything. And it was quite the opposite. They had a lot of simple, basic equipment, and they had no treadmills. So that was one of my first questions to our coach, that Acha, why is there no treadmill over here? When you can afford all of anything you want, and there are very good treadmills available also. So his response, I think, resonated with me till date, that all athletes, no matter whether you're a cricketer or you're a tennis player or a football player, you have a lot of impact when you're playing your sport, right? Running is impactful. And essentially what you're doing on court is running, sprinting. So you have so much impact that, your joints are constantly going through that on court. So there is no need to exert more impact when you come for fitness. What we have to do is keep you away from injuries. So when you're already getting so much impact on court, we have to find different other ways to train endurance, other ways to train your cardiovascular system. So we use a lot of biking. We use rowing also. Rowing was also excellent for the upper body, good endurance builder. Yeah. And there are other various equipments for cardio that you can use that do not have any impact on the joints. I see a question there. Our elliptical cross trainers. I think we'll answer all questions towards the end so that it doesn't break our flow. But we'll most certainly answer that one.
It's a great question, and also I think you raised that very well, Priyanka. When we think of endurance, we think of stamina, right?
Yes.
But very few tennis players, please understand, we need endurance of the arms also. Your legs might be working fine, but in the third set, your arms are not having that endurance. So, हाथ के endurance के लिए क्या करते हो? Priyanka, so that's for players, but what do you do to ensure? So you mentioned rowing, but what else can they do to actually ensure the stamina of the upper arms?
Of the upper arms, that is interesting.
Okay, think about it. We'll get to it towards the end, but it is a food for thought. Okay. So I know a couple of exercises that we can do on court, and we build it on court as well.
Okay. Ropes, yeah, Dharmal, that's a good one. Ropes
Dharmal, also. That's your license to become a fitness trainer, Dharmal. Okay, I know. I think some people reported that there is a problem with my voice and the video not being in sync. I'm sorry. I think we'll have to live with it. As long as Priyanka's is fine, she's the expert. So let's.
No. I can hear you. I can hear you well. I think must be different in different connections.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to next, speed. What?
So I'm going to take the liberty of getting 3 in speed, agility, and quickness, because they are all spoken interchangeably. So it is important to know the difference. It is also important to know what is most important for tennis, for a sport like tennis. So when you talk about speed, speed means the ability to quickly move across the court. It is also associated with top speed. So when you see a sprinter, I think that's how we should think of speed. That speed is what is the fastest you can go. So that is speed. Quickness is how quickly your body will respond to stimuli. So that would be like a split step in tennis. Like as soon as you see the ball coming, you would take a split step. That is how quickly your body's response is.
Or the reflex volleys.
Correct, absolutely. And agility, which I feel quickness and agility are very, very important in tennis. Agility is a change of direction, because tennis players, if you see, they move a lot during a match, but all of it is basically changing direction, right? You're going to hit a ball, you're going to come back, you're going to recover back to the center. Either you're going forward, lateral, doesn't matter, but you are constantly changing direction on court. So these 3 are used interchangeably, and they all are very, very crucial to develop in the younger years. So what has helped, and I think a lot of conversations with you have also developed my understanding of this, is that cross training. Or when tennis players play a different sport, for example, a sport like football, what that will do is it will improve, it will get them to respond quickly. It will improve their coordination, which we'll get into later, and a lot of change of direction, the way they respond to certain things become much better on court when they are exposed to a different kind of sport. So does that cover all of it?
Yeah,
I think it does.
to a certain extent, that this is where I'll get a lot of players will be able to relate to this. Have you seen that when you do sprints, players, there is one person who's really very fast. Okay, he's the quickest of the lot. Yeah, and you will see. Okay, now get that person on the court, and do you still think that person is the quickest on court? A lot of times you will see that there is a difference there. Person who is very good at the straight line might not necessarily be very good when it actually comes to quickness in terms of tennis. And this is where, so agility is your speed, but at the same time changing directions very fluently. Okay, so because court pe jo chahiye is actually changing these directions. Okay, so that is a very well brought about point. So please understand, speed is different and agility is different. More specific, just like Priyanka mentioned, is agility on court. Okay, look at changing. Yes, please.
I'll also like to mention that something like speed is developed in the younger years. This could start at 3, 4, 5, 6. But when you're training older athletes, when you're training teenagers, I feel like agility is more important because they, like you mentioned, they're two different things, and the latter is more important for a sport like tennis. So even though all of these can be developed in the younger years, I feel like when you continue training for them, agility and quickness both, because a quick step, that response is important when you continue training for elite
Yeah,
athletes.
and good that you mentioned that quick that first step also. So in tennis, after speed and to a great extent, your court coverage is defined by that first step, because you would have seen that on courts in 2 or 3 steps you're able to reach the sidelines. So if you're able to take that first step better, you will be able to do that. And what is that first step dependent on? Not speed, not so much footwork, but your strength. So that is.
I was going to come back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, great. So let's talk about it. Good, because ek aur cheez, I think one thing that players and parents should know, that there are these windows. Okay, these windows of opportunities that we should capitalize, because uske dauran jo kiya, for example, if you ask me to do juggling right now, I find it so tough. Okay, if I would have just done that between the age of, let us say, 4 to 7, and let's talk about it. So let's move on to the next one, Priyanka, which is coordination, because I mentioned juggling. Let's cover coordination first.
Yes, absolutely. So coordination is how do you define coordination? How you're able to
so I can define everyone. I'm actually ready with the ITF coaches manual. Okay, and by the way, this is free. This is available free to anyone who wants to, use this lockdown time and to get better. But anyway, that's okay. I mean, definition की चिंता मत करो.
You understand what coordination is.
नहीं exam नहीं हो रही है ना, तो चलता है.
Yeah, so something like coordination, I think I went back and spoke about football and tennis. I feel like that is hand-eye coordination. So it is extremely important for tennis. And this, like you mentioned, the window of opportunity is when you're much younger. It could start at 3, it could start at 4. I think it depends on the child. But what helps is being exposed to different types of activities. So tennis is one, like I mentioned, hand-eye coordination is great. But what will help the game of tennis will be something like football. It could be something like basketball also. In fact, any other sport, because you are responding to stimuli differently in these sports. So when you go there and you're exposed to these different elements or these different sports, and you bring it back to tennis, I feel like your footwork will improve. I feel like you are able to respond quickly. So when you have someone serving really, really fast, then you're able to just, move quicker. So I think there's a little bit all over the place, but the ABCs are very important when you're younger. So those are agility, balance, and coordination, and we'll hop on to balance after this.
Correct. And coordination is what exactly helps you not be all over the place.
Clearly, I have no coordination. I was skating, so that requires no coordination. So I did not develop this in my window of opportunity.
Yeah, but just to give the tennis players a good idea, so when the ball is actually hit, to ensure that your legs are at the right place, your hands are at the right place, you're completely in sync, doing the correct motion every single time and responding to different types of spins, depths, heights, power of the incoming ball, and to ensure कि आप उसको अच्छे से connect कर पाए every single time, that requires coordination. Okay, whether it's a spin serve, slice serve, top spin serve, yet to be able to return it well. Okay, so that again is best worked, like she said, when you are young. Let us not lose out on that period. So when you are young, if you play tennis, इसलिए if you play tennis 6 days a week, you are losing out on coordination because अगर आप उसमें से 2 या 3 दिन जाके कोई और sport खेलते तो आपको अलग stimuli मिलता जैसे प्रियंका बता रही है. So that would actually help you even get better at tennis in the later years when you specialize. Right? Okay, so
Yeah.
Priyanka, flexibility next. No,
Yes.
coordination is not for focus, and Dharmil, your answer was in this incorrect, but we'll get to that. Yeah,
Okay. Coordination, sorry, we're done with coordination.
flexibility.
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 Flexibility is basically how your range of motion at a joint. This is also very important, and this is also important to develop it at a younger age, before the child gets to puberty, because things change as soon as the boy or a girl, whoever you end up going to puberty. They say a lot of changes are happening in the body. A lot of times, kids who are flexible when they're younger they'll get stiffer. Their bones are growing, their muscles are growing. There's a lot going on in the body at that time. So younger age, you need to yeah, flexibility can be worked in various ways. One of my favorites is the warm up, because it gives you a very good chance to work on. Sorry, I'll get to that. There are two types of flexibilities: active and static and dynamic. And when we do the warm up, you're working on dynamic stretching, dynamic movements. You are increasing the range of motion of joints before preparing your body before you do any sort of activity. Now, flexibility can also be worked. So that's dynamic. The static stretching will be worked on either post workout or a post tennis session, or preferably on a rest day. Because that you will be holding the stretches, you will be holding the poses for 10 to 20 seconds, and that you want to give it at least half an hour when you're working on different joints and different movements. So rest day is preferable, like on a Sunday when you're watching TV or something like that. It would be helpful to work on that. And it's, so it's like a given day that, okay, every Sunday I get to watch TV, but at the same time, I'm being productive with my body. I'm opening up my joints and, being more flexible.
That's good. So basically, on Sundays, kids do activities, studies as well as flexibility.
Yes.
Okay, that's nice. So, and I think we'll talk about the research part later. Then let's talk about and yes, so flexibility on the tennis court. Best example, Novak Djokovic.
Yes.
And let us say Kim Clijsters, if you would have seen the split by Kim
Yes.
Clijsters, you can see, how Djokovic can get himself into the toughest of positions and be able to
Absolutely.
hit the ball, recover back as well. Just this whole range. He actually saves so many points, wins so many points just by using this. Yes. So using
By getting to the
this.
ball.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
okay. So, but it really, and of course, flexibility will help you prevent injuries.
Yes.
Because if I were to do the same thing as Djokovic would, I would actually probably tear a muscle. But just because his flexibility is better. Yeah. So,
I would also like to mention, because we're talking about Djokovic's split, he gets to the ball in every, wide balls, or he'll sort of sprint towards the net and get it. And that also requires balance. So we'll get to the next component.
which is balance.
Because tennis is huge on dynamic balance. Because if you can get to the ball, but you're off balance, then you're not going to be able to recover back and make it back to the center in time.
Or also use power, actually, Priyanka. If you're not in balance, you will not be able to generate the power.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, balance is two types: static and dynamic. Static balance is rarely used in sport because you're constantly moving. So you would not really practice standing on one leg. I guess you could start by working on balance by doing that, and then progress it to more dynamic nature. But for a sport like tennis, I think it is important to work on that, not only on court but also off court. When you're doing certain jumps and stuff, you should be practicing not just jumping on two legs, jumping on one and then transferring your weight back and forth, because if you're constantly working on two legs, like squat jumps or something like that, then you are not putting the body in that position. You have to be able to train it like that to be able to get it on court. So dynamic balance is extremely important. And I think as I've been working with tennis players, I have also realized that more and more. And especially when we see them play on court and see that, okay, they're getting off balance here. There could be multiple things that are not in place. Strength would also be a reason why they're not able to sort of maintain that balance.
Okay, strength could be a reason. So again, where strength and balance are connected. So if you're not strong enough, you might not be balanced. Okay.
Absolutely.
And perfect. So let's say kid of Guruvansh's age, 5 years old, I should get him to stand on one leg and do it, and then later on what it requires.
Yes.
And again, Djokovic is a prime example. I think a lot of you would have seen Facebook clips of how he actually maintains balance, by doing these very, very odd different exercises. And he trains a lot specifically on balance. So workout to include balance. Yes, why not? Why we are talking about all of this players is, whenever you have some free time, some off days or during tournaments, let's say you're very tired, but working on something like balance, working on something like just, when she said quickness or reflexes, that is not going to take so much of energy and yet you are building things. Please understand.
Yes.
So आपको ये knowledge बहुत काम में आएगा. This is where I want you to understand that there's so many aspects and all of them can be worked on. Correct? And you just need to call up, the fitness trainers in this case, Priyanka or people from Hi-Fi, and then you can ask, okay, this is what happened in my match, and what is it that I can do? All right. In most cases, they will have a workout ready for you even before you go.
So speaking of that, so there are how many? I think we've covered eight components. Yes. No other sport or no other athlete that we work with require all these components, which is what makes tennis extremely difficult, because you have to be able to do all of these things in a match. So you have to be constantly working on that. If not one component, other. I mean, it has to be a structured way that you're working on these things. But there is a way. There is a way that it has to be divided, provided all your time is not going on the court playing the game. Because if that is the case, then it'll be very difficult to address all these different components.
Correct. So that means that we need to devote a lot of off-court time for this.
Yes.
Okay. And the last one is dexterity. The skill.
Yes. So can you elaborate on that, please?
We'll probably
you have the book right there. I have no books with me.
I was actually also looking at the clock, that because
we're short on time.
Yeah. So, but that's okay. We can log in again because I would love to take questions from them. So we'll talk about this. And actually a couple of other things also that I wanted to talk, but maybe we can have a session. But dexterity is actually the skill. Okay, it is how you can achieve the best performance within a short time. That is what it takes. So, but we'll talk about it later. And so, Priyanka, so the things that I had, of course, I think we've spoken about strength, power, and even developing height. I think developing a good height is a must for being a good tennis player.
Yes. So a couple of things will help with that. One could be cross-training. By cross-training, I mean playing a different sport or something like basketball or something like volleyball. Any of these, vertical sports. Tennis requires that in serves. I mean, you know how advantageous it is to have good height. So again, there's a window of opportunity. If the child engages in such sports before puberty or during puberty also, that would help greatly in developing height. Another thing is by getting enough rest and sleep. Because if a 10-year-old, for example, if he is playing 3-4 hours on court, not getting enough rest, spending a lot of his time studying at school, um, doing
Tuitions.
fitness and tuitions, doing fitness and playing tennis. Poor thing does not have any time to rest or recover. So I feel that is an extremely important and overlooked point, because I've seen, we work with younger kids, and we see quite a lot of times where they come in, they will have different niggles, they will have shoulder pain, back pain, leg pain. That's not the age to have such aches and pains. So my recommendation is, while you're balance everything out. It cannot be that you're practicing too much on the court, or you're spending too much time physically. Your body and your mind need rest at night, so that also helps. And third thing is plyometrics. We've seen, and there is research that by practicing jumps of different sorts will also help in the growth plates when time comes during puberty. So these three components are known to improve height.
Height. Oh, that's nice because I constantly think, because very clearly how many, I think at Shaisha what we got people to do was to measure their heights just when the lockdown actually started, and
Okay.
also measure their height on the first day that they got on court. And
Okay.
I'm really sure some of you would have seen good increase in height, isn't it? Some players that yet to get report from you, because we didn't have your old one, but please check. And I've always seen, players who take a break, let us say for exams, or are injured when they're out, and when they come back, their height actually improves. So in height, they actually, some people that carried out a formula, and in that there are
Okay.
of course pluses. Okay, there are what is so your parents' height and so on. So those components
Yes.
are,
Yes.
but what is a negative is stress or the amount
Yes.
of, so
Yes.
so if you actually put in too much of a hard work at a younger age, there are chances that you might not grow in height, because of course the food and so on will
Yeah.
also be used to actually help you perform that rather than actually help you increase the height.
Correct. So if you ask me, that would be my 10th component of fitness, because without that, none of these will make any difference. If your nutrition is not in place, if your rest is not in place, rest means sleep and recovery and all of that, then it will be, you're not letting your body develop like it wants to. So I don't think it would make sense. Good nutrition is extremely important, because they say that muscles are torn in the gym or on court, but they're made in bed. Sorry, they're made in kitchen and also in bed. Both those things, in the kitchen, eating good food as well as getting enough rest, will help build your body. So
Excellent.
very, very important.
So we started with strength, which actually has an interlinking for all, and we are
Yes.
ending with rest, which is actually the base to actually help you get better at all of this.
Yes. Yes.
So rest.
Absolutely.
And I think, yeah, I was actually thinking that I think most of the lazy people might be tall.
I've not checked that out.
Yeah, people check around, check if there is any person lazy. You'll see that short people are actually more mobile, more active, but people who are lazy are normally tall. At least I
Yeah.
will. You can check that. That is again my
I'm not sure if
hypothesis.
Kaivalya is watching, but are you trying to say something to him?
No, no, not to Kevin. There's some rare exceptions around.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
So okay, so if we are logging out, we log in again, all of you. But let's get down to two of the questions that I had, and then we'll take your questions. So, what affects? Okay, so Chetan Gadiar is tall, and he says no. But and Aman, I think Aman's father, Aman, I probably is a yes, because I know he's pretty active, he's pretty quick, and he's short. So, let's see. But Chetan, you are one of those, take it easy kind of fellows, and I think that helps you. Okay. So, nice. So, what happens, what affects the physical development of a tennis player is no off season and playing too many tournaments, clearly, that
Yes.
we've already mentioned. So, please, I would recommend all the players and parents, please get educated about this concept of periodization, what it really means. Why is it important that we have a good periodization in order to ensure that we are developing? So, one often repeated word is long-term player development, and for Priyanka, it is long-term athlete development. So, Priyanka, you want to talk just briefly about what it means, long-term athlete development?
Yes. It means that you don't want to super specialize for a sport too young. So they say that until the age of 12, so some people might think this is surprising, but until the age of 12, you should be, like we mentioned, different sports and stuff. You should be working on all these different components of fitness. So you can be doing tennis, but if you enjoy playing football, you can also be playing football. But after the age of 12 is when you would start doing structured activity for a particular sport. If you think you want to play competitive tennis, then that's the time when you would, start specializing. Another thing that means is, I'm going to just jump in a little bit and go into periodization, because we spoke about off season, but it just means that you are not expected to perform at 200% throughout the year, because that is not possible. You have to pick and choose what your important tournaments of the year are. You have to, and that has to be a kind of conversation with your coach, where you decide that, okay, this is my absolute, I need to be 100% at this time of the year, but the rest of the year is all building up to that. So you're not doing anything, but you have different goals for different parts of the year. So that, in my eyes, is extremely important to stay away from injuries also, and to have that motivation to play that sport, because motivation levels are also fluctuating. If you're constantly playing one sport, people do tend to get tired or burnt out. So all these things, periodization helps with making sure that you absolutely enjoy the sport that you're playing.
Perfect. So I've seen when I've tried this and kept people off the court for a little bit, their freshness, ठीक है,
Yes.
उनका enthusiasm को कोर्ट पे आने का मजा आता है.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so that is, and I think we've had a very good question here by Nitin as well. So, but yeah, we'll actually talk about it. It's a good question. I'd like to answer it. So which means, and that is actually bringing me to the last hypothesis. Note that if you actually, I mean, normally हम लोग सिर्फ top players की बात करते हैं, so it's just like, Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, all these top
Yeah,
players
yeah.
who actually win Grand Slams. Okay, and even if
Correct.
you listen to Leander's interview, he would plan his year in such a way that he would peak at Grand Slams. So what does that really mean? That those are the tournaments for which you want to be very fresh. So what about
Yes.
the tournaments leading up to it? Okay, and this is where you need to plan, everyone, that in those tournaments work out as if there is just like a practice. Okay, you
Yes.
do a good workout, because आपका development रुकना नहीं चाहिए. अगर आप हर मैच हर टूर्नामेंट के लिए ऐसे प्रिपेयर करोगे as if this is the most important, okay, you will have less growth and you will not develop these components. I mean, we talked about 9 different components that we need to get better at. Okay, and it is not going to be easy if we keep playing. And in tennis, assume in 3 months, even if you're playing 5 tournaments, okay, and you will have some traveling and so on, so which is like half the time gone, so you're only actually training for 6 weeks, okay, in
Correct.
3 months.
Correct.
Multiply that by 4, so you're only training for 24 weeks in a year,
Right.
okay, out of
Right.
52. So you will see that with so that actually amounts to very less. Okay, so there has to be, you have to, one major take back that you should have from this is, please keep training through tournaments which are not very, that is why the top players are not going to win all the lead up tournaments. If you see, they will not be winning the lead up tournaments to the Grand Slams, but the Grand Slams, yes, they will have the most chances of winning.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. So the others you would play for match practice, if you will. So even if you are sore in those, it is okay. You don't try to be sore, but my point being that you would not hamper your training, your fitness training, to be able to play a better match in the ones that lead up to the Grand Slam.
So in the ones that don't really count so much, there are
Yes.
tournaments that you will play just to test yourself out in different
Yeah.
ways, and that's okay. Match practice. It's actually said
Correct.
match practice, right? So treat it as a practice and not always as a
Correct.
match. Okay.
True.
If I think we might be logging out in 1 minute, and then we'll come
Okay.
back, and so we finish 2 parts, and I'll like to take questions, especially. So we'll start off with Saumil. So Aryan Choksi's father had this question about, I think, cross trainers. If you could post that again, I think it has gone up. And then I'd like to take Nitin's question also. Uh, the difference between the right, how do you actually have the right difference between overtraining and pushing yourself a little more than the limits? So for people who don't know, Nitin, he's an excellent player. I think he's ranked around 1100 at the ATP uh, right now. So, Nitin, I think Priyanka, you would like to answer that, and then. that answer? How will they actually find out the right balance?
Sure. So there are a couple of different things. When would you know that you're overtraining? Like, I'll go by I'll answer
Yeah,
that
okay.
first.
I think this says everyone. This says just 20 seconds remaining. Can we all log
Okay.
back in and then we'll look at your questions? If
Sure.
it's
Sure.
yeah. So I'm going to end this right now. We log back
Okay.
in again. Start